Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the biggest X Trend program. My name is Patience Ifere, and I'm your host for today's program. My job is to give you updates on what is happening on the streets of X, formerly known as Twitter. I'm not alone in the studio. I'm here with Ogaga and Pepi, and they are here to share their ideas and opinions about what is happening on the X app. Ogaga, good morning.
Good
Good
morning,
morning, Pepi.
patience.
Good morning, patience.
How are you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm okay.
Yeah, apparently you are fine. Like we're saying after. I said this year you don't want to hear, you're just glowing
No, I don't want to grade for anybody. I want to start my hair. This I don't want to grade for anybody.
this year.
Yeah, but you look good. I love your
Thank you.
white with a touch of purple. This is purple, right? No, this is blue. Yeah,
Very blue.
it's really nice.
Thank you. Peppy.
He's blushing.
Yeah, I've been blushing on my behalf. Alright,
Yeah,
let's
I
get
love your
into it.
earrings.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So let's quickly move to the trends for today. The first trend is hashtag speed darlinting, and it's a minor trend. So speed darlinting is trending because he has been released from prison after spending Christmas and New Year. That he spent 2 months in prison. We are aware last year that he was arrested because he defamed Burna Boy, accusing Burna Boy of gay, saying that Burna Boy is a gay and his partner is Didi. So he was arrested the first time and then he was released. And this time around, he was arrested again in November and he has been released a few days ago. So Burna Boy tweeted, "If you like, misbehave again, you will go back to where you came from. And this time around, there will be no mercy." And I'll take one tweet before I hear your opinions. Laughing out loud, Speed Darlington passport has been seized. That of his surety has also been seized. Akpi trial will commence fully on 18th March, and any misbehavior from Akpi will send him to jail, and it will also kill his defense in court. Any mistake will land Akpi in jail. I'll go with you first, Ogaga. What do you have to say about this?
Okay, so since the matter is already in court, there's really not much to say about it. But the little knowledge I have about law is that okay, so I was talking about the situation of him being held for 2 months in jail, and I'm saying that it was actually legally held because, like I was stating earlier, I was saying that normally if a person is detained, as it were, you have like 48 hours. Sometimes I think it can spill a little to 72 hours. But after that, the person has the right to be bailed and let go, and you charge the person to court. But for someone to be held that long, like I was saying, I say except it's a court that order that the person be remanded, and I'm saying that the judge overseeing that case ordered that Speed Darlington be remanded in Kuje Correctional Center pending the perfection of his bail conditions. So I think that during the week, that's when the bail conditions were perfected, and that's why he go back to where he came from this time. All right. Okay, he was defamed and he is following the legal process because initially, when Speed Darlington was missing, nobody knew.
Nobody knew about
To
it.
me, that time, it was illegal because they held him beyond his rights. Yes, but now apparently the court demanded that he be remanded, and of course they'll have their time in caught. And I think we should also be careful for social media users, especially in this generation. Anybody just feels that they can put a camera in front of them, turn on the ring lights, and say whatever they want to say, whether they have evidence or not, and that should be totally condemned. It is not right. You should not just go out because you are defaming a person. And some persons, they have now become a brand that it took them years to build. So just doing stuff and saying stuff, we should be careful. I remember an incident a couple of years ago. That one time it was Basketball that told a joke, a rape joke. And then he was not meant to be an ambassador for, I think, the girl child. I can't remember the details. And they brought up that joke. They dropped him. So let's be careful. Even ourselves, when we say you just carry a camera before you start saying stuff, be careful what you say. Be careful.
Okay, thank you very much. Pepe, do you have anything to add to it?
If you have, I think you should go to the appropriate authorities and, table your complaint. This is what I have against this person. I've got evidence to back what I even have against this person. And I believe that the appropriate authorities will take it up from there. As long as you've got evidence, you're sure of what you're saying, and if charged to court, you can defend it, rather than going on social media where things can be interpreted, misinterpreted, and all of that. Go to the appropriate authorities and do the needful.
Thank you very much. Well, many social media fans, let's say Twitter fans, they don't see anything wrong in what Speed Darlington did. In fact, they're even blaming Burna Boy for even going as far as arresting him. They said Speed Darlington is just doing his thing and he's a funny man. What do you have to say about it?
So that's what I'm saying. So you have to understand that where your right ends, that's where my right starts. So you don't need to infringe on someone else's right. So yes, there are some persons that will take it as a. So first of all, it starts from what's the relationship.
Okay.
Do you understand? So we've seen people can joke around and say, let's say for example, friends that are joking, you're like, you too like woman, yeah, womanizer, if you womanizer and all of that. Because it's the person's friend, the person might take it on a lighter note. But if it's not a friend, if I have no relationship with this person and I put ring light and I say this person is a womanizer, the person might take it as slander. And the person, so something that someone took from someone else might not be, and considering what Speed Darlington was doing. Yes, you see, that's the thing. That's what I was talking about. Nigeria, they term some things as cruise, but I might not find it funny. Because first of all, what he was accusing Burna of is something that, first of all, Burna won a Grammy. So he was trying to say Burna didn't merit it. Mind you, that's what he was insinuating. That he didn't merit it, that it was because of this bromance he had with P. Diddy. That's why he got it. Then second, you have to also understand that Burna Boy is a Nigerian artist, and in Nigeria is against homosexuality. So it doesn't tell well for Burna at all. So in as much as you're catching cruise, so what is the impact of that your cruise on the next person?
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's move to the next minor trend. The next minor trend is hashtag NNPC. NNPC increases petrol price to 965 naira per liter, and in Lagos NNPC increases petrol price to 965 naira per liter in Lagos and 990 naira per liter in Abuja, meaning they increase it in Lagos by 25 naira and increase it in Abuja by 25 naira and increase it in Lagos by 35 naira. We have fuel in the country. Why is this happening? Pepe, can you help us out?
I really don't know why this is happening, but the increase in fuel in different places is also an indicator that there's also going to be an increase in the cost of goods and services, and people are not finding it funny every day. Like, people are like entering into depression even without them knowing. Like, if you want to see how Nigerians are, annoy someone in a tricycle. Let's say if you bought a tricycle, just intentionally make someone angry. That's when you know that them being in this country is enough ground for them to be angry. But then, in as much as they are increasing these prices, they should look at the people that are suffering it. when two giants fight, the ground suffers, and
Yeah.
it is the masses that are suffering. How much do we earn in a month before you remove money for expenses, unforeseen circumstances, those people that have children, those people that are married, and all of that, mortgage, bills, money for fuel? What is actually left at the end of the month? It's disheartening, and I just pray that they should look at all of these things and find a way to put it at a very, very affordable price so that everybody will smile at the end of the day, because the increase in the price of fuel is affecting invariably everything is being affected, and it's not funny again.
It's okay. Let me take on tweets before I'll hear your view, Gaga. So someone said, so with all the oils we have in Nigeria, it's is only for the government and the rich people.
Okay, so I was going to tilt in this angle because Dangote Refinery first of all came out and they spoke about the increment in their own price.
Yeah.
And their reason, one of the reasons I could agree with is they said they were still importing crude. So it means that the Nigerian state does not supply all the crude that they use, they refine to get their petrol products. So that's understandable. But now, when it now comes to NNPC, except NNPC wants to tell us that they themselves too, they are importing crude, because one of the reasons that one of the handles, ex-handles put up is that they stated high increase in, I'm trying to get that tweet, global oil prices, actually it's a rising news that put this out there, rising global oil prices and deregulation. So, except also, which I believe that the NNPC, they are into also business. So when they say global oil prices and deregulation, so if we have our own crude in the country and we refine our products, I don't think per se that international prices should affect how you sell to your people if you are being considerate to your people. Now, if you are exporting, that's fine. Of course, you can consider global oil prices, but for the Nigerian citizens, they should be fair on them. So Dangote is like everything I would say. Dangote said he did it for the country, came to invest in his country, but you never take it away that is a need to make profit and make gain. That's the truth. So as long as he's importing crude, once the global oil prices rise, his own will go up. So maybe Dangote, NNPC, they are seeing themselves as competitors with Dangote now. So once the price goes up, so they'll try to increase their own again to increase their profit margin and all of that, which I don't think is nice enough, because like Perpetual said, once the price of petrol goes up, it invariably affects every other thing, because transportation is affected, and the people that bring goods, transport goods from the middle belt to from the north, it affects the price of transportation, which also affects the price, the selling price of the product. And now, my landlord goes to the bank to buy, and goes to the market to buy this increased food stuff. So my landlord will increase his rent. The transporter is buying petrol, is buying food stuff. The transporter will increase the rent. The person that sells clothes, the person transports the stuff, and the person still pays the increased rent, pays the increased transportation. They want to increase their profit margin. So everything just goes up. So this is where the government needs to look into it. Now, the president has promised in the past CNG and buses, and actually they've distributed some buses and all of that, but it's still not enough to alleviate and mitigate the effect of removing subsidy. So I think they should do more and expedite all the promises that they've made regarding the removal of subsidy on petrol.
Thank you very much for that wonderful contribution. The last minor trend is #NYC. Kidnappers allegedly demand 5 million ransom for NYC corps members abducted on their way to Port Harcourt, Rivers State. I'll be reading 2 tweets and then I'll hear your opinions. NYC should be scrapped. Our roads are no longer safe. If the scheme is too important to scrap as it serves as a source of cheap labor, then the federal government should allow people serve in their state of choice. The Nigerian government needs to resolve these issues of long distance travel. We have been hearing so many cases about this happening in Nigeria. What do you have to say about this, Pepe?
it's quite disheartening
Yeah,
that
this is very sad.
this is very, very sad that individuals or people that just finished school want to serve their country in different states, and the roads, we can't even boast of the safety of our roads. It's quite disheartening, and this is an anomaly that is becoming an integral part of us even without us knowing, because it's no more news that kidnapping has become the order of the day in the country. But like someone said, like my own opinion, I feel like if you school in Delta State, to reduce these issues, you should serve in Delta States.
Okay.
Anywhere you school, serve there. But then another person may bring up the idea, then what is the idea of NYSC? Is it not for you to be acquainted with different areas in the country and then properly serve your country, no matter where you are posted, be it the north, be it the south, be it the east, and be it the west? So I feel like in the meantime, probably if it's possible, NYSC should be stopped
Okay.
till when they've sorted this issue of security. When they are going to sort it out now, nobody knows, because it's a problem and it's recurring, and it's quite disheartening. I don't want to imagine what the parents of these individuals are going through right now, that my child went for NYSC, along the road he was kidnapped and I'm being asked for ransom. I don't know where we're headed to, honestly.
Thank you very much. Olaka, do you have anything you're trying to say?
Well, when it comes to NYSC, I think that of a truth,
Yeah.
it has lost to a large extent the value and the intention behind its creation. The first and major reason why it was created is to aid the unity of Nigerians, to experience the diverse cultures and way of life of people. But now, you often see why I said it has lost it. We see people, someone that's from Delta State, that's schooled in Delta State University. The person is working his NYSC or her NYSC to serve in the same Delta State, and they get it. So first of all, that even defeats the purpose. And sometimes for fair reasons, some persons are saying because of insecurity. Why some persons, they feel like I'm already doing something, I'm already working here, so let me continue with my job and all of that. If this is, first of all, my heart goes out to those persons that were kidnapped, and it's very terrible. If this scheme must continue, if the government does not want to, I will not say scrap, I will say suspend. Because the truth is, if you speak to a couple of persons, their NYC experiences, to be fair, they enjoyed it. Some will enjoy camp, some will not enjoy their PPA, some enjoy both, some their PPA, they were good. Some persons have even gotten jobs from their PPAs. So, I will not say that this scheme should be scrapped. I rather it's suspended in the meantime. But if the federal government insists, now this is what I'm proposing, they should ensure security. So, for example, and now it will be because I don't really subscribe to saying if you insist, then people should serve in their state. The federal government should make security available. So this is what I mean. If, for example, every state, for example, Delta should have buses going to every state. So all the core members that were posted, for example, were posted to Akwa Ibom State. All the core members going to Akwa Ibom State should have a bus that will convey them there, that are resident in Delta State. So, and when the buses are available, they should be guarded. So the military will move with that bus. Because if I say, of course, it should have been better if you just book all of them flight. It just comes and they all travel by flight and get there. But the truth is, it's not like we don't have the money. We can actually do it. And this thing is in batches. So those persons resident in, so it's either you use the flight or you ensure that security is made available for them. Because we see it now. We see it with our politicians. If a politician is traveling by roads to Warri, they have you seen their convoy? They have security persons going with them now.
Real massive.
Over just from Interbab to Summit, security will follow them. So we're not talking about children that are moving through bush paths and all of that. So if it must happen, the NYC core members, they should just, so it should not be a mixture that we have people that are going for business. No, all core members will just tell you, if you are going on so the rising these 5 different parks, be there because the bus will take off by 7, because all of them, they're supposed to enter camp the same day and start the same day. So if you want to really serve, and let's say camp opens on a Monday or something, then you say, okay, depending on the duration, the bus leaves on Sunday. There will be different maybe batches, 6 o'clock, and you will know your time. It's not like you just get there, just like you know your batch when you're going to serve. You know you're rolling a military, better that way. But if they are not ready to do that, I think it should be stopped, because I just want to imagine getting the news that your son, your daughter was kidnapped, or your brother, your sister was kidnapped. It's very, very terrible. Very, very terrible. I've had a friend that was kidnapped. And the painful thing is, there is a law that is against paying of ransoms. Because normally, if it was legal, this kind of situation, it's the federal government that will pay the ransom.
Yes.
But they are government properties.
They
I
are
mean,
government.
So
That's what I'm saying. But even the federal government, they always tell you that they don't support paying it. There was a legislation now, once upon a time,
They
don't
don't
pay
support payment of ransom.
ransom, because they believe that it encourages the kidnappers to keep up the
Exactly.
keep up
business.
the business. Okay.
So, but my own is the onus is, but and at the same time, we've also heard family members that come to cry and say that the federal, whether federal or state level, that there was no input from them, that they themselves were the ones that found a way to bring out their family members from the kidnappers then, which is terrible. In situations like this, the federal government should take it upon themselves.
Okay.
Themselves.
Thank you very much. I just hope the federal government will do better. The next trend is #Trump, and this is a major trend. Donald Trump has been sworn in as the 47th President of the United States of America and has given his inaugural address declaring America's decline is over. This is his second term, and he was sworn in on the 20th of January. Congratulations to Donald Trump. This is a big win for America, and this is a big win for the world at large. Also, the Trump meme coin was launched on the 17th of January, few days before his inauguration. Saw its price jump from less than $10 to 71.59, and currently it has also dipped. It dipped slightly on Monday, and currently it is $32.47. I have a question for you, Gaga. First of all, before you talk about Donald Trump properly, I want you to answer. What could be his reason for launching this coin just before his inauguration?
Okay, Donald Trump is a businessman.
Yeah.
So of course, and we're getting into the era of we're already in the era of cryptocurrency,
Yeah.
where there are people that accept crypto payments and all of that. Someone like Elon Musk is a staunch supporter of cryptocurrency, and he was also a staunch supporter of Trump. So of course, Trump is a businessman. The last time when he was sworn in during his when he was 45th president of the United States, as at then, I think he was part of those persons that, if my memory serves me right, he was not even receiving salary. He said the US government should pay him $1. So when they get into these positions and all of that, so he's a businessman. Before then, he has been doing well for himself. So of course, it's business. So he knows that this tenure, and it's an investor. So you will know that there isn't some persons that, because Elon Musk is also a strong supporter of Dogecoin. So there are some persons that we know that if Trump wins and you have Dogecoin, some persons actually went to buy. That's the truth.
Yeah.
People that believe in, especially where cryptocurrency, and Elon Musk even receives cryptocurrency, crypto payment for his EVs and all of that. So those are things. So I think he's a businessman. He knows the effects and all of that. And we have the cash.
Will it affect the economy positively? Their economy positively?
Yes, I believe it will. I think they're already working with crypto and all of that. It will.
Alright.
It will help them.
Pepe, do you have anything to add to it?
But low-key somehow, I just feel like, what if he's low-key trying to bring this one world currency economy via investing in crypto? That's just what I've been thinking about when I heard about it. Because he's an investor, he's gain-driven. every investor wants to make profit. But
Yeah.
I just pray that he's towing the positive path, and everything will be okay.
Do you think the one world order can be averted?
No, it cannot be averted. So I just said that came to my mind. That's just one low-key thought I had, but it's all good.
Okay, that's fine. And do you also think the coin will rise again? Because right now it has dipped to $32.47.
Okay, I'm not a crypto trader, neither am I a crypto analyst, so
Okay.
I don't know. So that's
Okay, but I think it will rise again.
It will.
It will.
Crypto is not. You don't predict it.
Yeah.
It will definitely.
He's a diehard fan
He
for
is.
crypto, and definitely to rise again, but
It
it will
will.
take time.
Definitely.
So the next trend is hashtag EFCC. EFCC saw a Lexus and a Benz in a compound, scaled the fence, broke into the house at midnight. The homeowner was home with his family. His wife saw them and started screaming. Thieves. Trying to protect his family, the man used his pump action, shot one man dead. Let me read from someone who was in the scene. EFCC went to carry out an arrest operation today around 4 a.m. in Oka, and sadly, they stormed the house, and the suspect thought they were thieves because of how they operated. He opened fire with a pump-action gun, hitting the first EFCC guy in the hand, then shot the second guy in the stomach, and he died on the spot. Both the shooter and the EFCC personnel are in the police custody. This said guy, the guy who was shot, is said to be getting married in 2 weeks' time. That's a loss on his side anyways. May his soul rest in perfect peace. But do you think this act of the EFCC, because this has been happening in Nigeria for so long, but unfortunately this has to happen and this man died. Do you think this EFCC, they need to scrap this, or what do you think the government needs to do about this? Ogaba.
it's the irony of lawlessness by a legally constituted institution, agency. And I think something needs to be done about it, because this is not the first time.
Yeah.
We also, it's still on X trend here, we saw the video of how EFCC operatives broke into a hotel room and assaulted a hotel staff and all of that.
Yeah.
It's so terrible. Or is it different? We've seen different scenarios, evidence of videos and all of that. So their MO is condemnable, and it's painful. Because if I told the line that I want to tell, it will seem like someone is gloating after the misfortune. But I don't know why, because even their head has come out to say that is not their MO. So I wonder who is telling them to do that. I mean, how can you be scaling the fence and coming into my compound at that time? Then the issue now is the man who shot that gun, is it a licensed weapon? If it's not, he'll go in for it. But if it's a licensed weapon, truth is, if he gets a good lawyer, it will come out. Because
Yeah,
it's
a licensed weapon according to.
if you should get
To
a
them.
good lawyer, it will come out. It's
Self-defense.
self-defense.
It is.
It's self-defense. So, and it should be a lesson to the EFCC
Okay.
operators, because you don't know what you are going to. Normally, in a civil nation, a sane agency should come during the day, knock. If anybody, it's not you want to find out, are you coming to rob? Knock on my gate, I will open. Ask you, okay, what is it? Then I will defend myself. At best, I'll ask for your search warrant. Once you get it, you enter my house. That's how it's done. See, I've watched documentaries, seen videos. Do you know that in a sane climb, even when a police officer is on mufti and comes and is even knocking on your door or your glass and all of that, your car, your vehicle, you can tell him, please identify yourself. And the officer is to identify himself before you yield. But try it now. Try it. Be traveling. Then they stop you. You see all these guys black and black with black lips. You will now ask them, identify what? You might not even complete that statement.
You may not, honestly.
That's the truth, but it's terrible. And still talking, I don't know, do you still have another story on the EFCC?
Yes, I do.
Maybe it's this, but the EFCC, they've not been doing well, honestly.
Yeah, and there was also a press statement that was released on Twitter on the 1st of November 2023 by the executive chairman of the commission, Mr. Ola Olukoyede. He said that he directed that the string operations at night time to be stopped in all commands of the EFCC. So I feel the EFCC did a very wrong thing to raid someone's house. But in that case, Pepe, do you want to say something?
No, my own is, this is not the first time he's condemning their MO.
Okay.
That's the truth. So what should be done? What has been done? Because, see, the truth is, even the ones, is it because two of his officers were shot now? Because even without them being shot, if this thing is escalated, these people should be detained. And if they continue, it should be much children. Just that even sometimes all these security agencies will come out and they say they are short staffed. Because if your head has stated it over and over again and you do it, then they should drop you. They should drop you. Lose your badge. Because it's terrible now. See now, 2 men, they've died. That's the consequence of the action. As terrible as it sounds. Okay, 1 injured, shot by the hand, and 1 died. As terrible as it sounds, but they've died. Then now, this is also a call. EFCC operative agents. Now, your boss has said that that's not how you people are meant to operate. Don't because of greed. Now, because to me, I don't want to be, it's not because of the love of the job. It's not because they hate crime. That's why they are doing this thing. Because your boss has said it over and over again. So abide by the rules of the agency you serve in.
Okay, thank you very much. Pepe, I want to ask you a question. Do you think the suspect, the said man who shot the EFCC, was too quick to pull the trigger? I mean, he took the laws into his hands. What can you say about it? Don't you think he was supposed to have waited? I know he thought they were thieves, but don't you think he was supposed to have waited
till he was shot on the left hand, right?
No, not necessarily. But we're in Nigeria. You're not supposed to take laws into your hands.
In
as
much as you're not supposed to take laws into your hands as a Nigerian, their approach, everything was described there. They didn't come in as normal beings. They came in like thieves and hirelings. So what do you do when you are faced with thieves and hirelings and you have a means of protecting yourself?
Yeah.
You self-defend yourself. I think that's what he did, because in the tweet you read, you said his wife started shouting thieves because they broke into the fence. So if you were in that man's shoes, what would you have done? You would have told same line, let's all be honest. But like Ogaga said, is he licensed to have a gun? Because if he's not, he's going to go in for it. But if he is, and he has a good lawyer, that man will be a free man in no time.
Right now, they are tagging him a Yahoo boy.
It doesn't matter. Why are they tagging him a Yahoo boy? Because he has a gun?
Because EFCC, that's what they do. Most times they raid Yahoo boys. So right now, they are tagging him a Yahoo boy so that the case can be against him.
If they have evidence, they should bring it to the fore. It's not a matter of tagging you Yahoo boy or ritualist or cultist. They invaded his privacy in a very, very alarming way. So if they have evidence, it should be brought to the fore. If they don't and he has a good lawyer, he'll be free.
You can even add this slander as this on libel, depending if it was a spoken speech. You can add a defamation to his case, his court case. If it's not, because you cannot just come and pick me up because of something, then you now be tagging me Yahoo boy. Exactly. I will add it to my charges.
That guy is not smiling at all.
I will add it to my charges.
Okay, so EFCC did another thing. So an EFCC staff disappeared after stealing over $30,000 from exhibit room in Kaduna State. A Twitter fan said, so EFCC is now stealing from EFCC. This is the man that actually died. And his wedding is in 2 weeks' time. This is so sad. He was shot in the stomach. So what can you say about the EFCC officer that stole money, $30,000 from exhibit room in Kaduna State? So Gaga.
That's the irony of the country we find ourselves. But the truth is that it's not only in Nigeria. Even outside Nigeria, we see rogue cops and all of that that do the bidding of illegal biddings and all of that to suit themselves and so-called people that matter. It's terrible, it's condemnable, but at the same breath, I would say that the EFCC boss had said when he came into power that he is not only fighting crime in Nigeria, he will also fight the corrupt in the EFCC. So it's a good thing that this happened and it's out there. We know about it. I think was it early this month also about 10 persons were detained. Still EFCC officials were detained. I think in Lagos. That whether they moved a gold bar, whether a billion naira and all of that. So it's good that the EFCC is probing itself. It's a good thing. Even in organizations they do it. So let's not pretend like because it's the EFCC, so they are clean because it's a crime fight. No, it's not necessarily that way. It's just like saying that we've seen scandals. The bank that is supposed to keep your money safe. We see frauds. We experience frauds there now. And all of that, the bank officers, agents, and all of that, they also siphon cash and all of that. And that's supposed to be where they tell you, come and keep your funds. Your funds are safe with us. So we see these things there, the irony, we see it everywhere. So it's a good one. My own is, let this case not just die. Let it not get the sensation and the thrills and like, oh, this is nice. The EFCC, they haven't proven themselves.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, swept under the carpet and they don't face the wrath of the law. No. This man should be apprehended. The one that went with, is it 10,000 or $30,000?
$30,000.
To be apprehended. Then those persons in Lagos State also, they should be properly probed, investigated. And the idea of investigation also is to know their accomplice as well. Those aiding and abetting them. Because if it's in the same country, you will trace and get as many people that are in this corrupt web within the agency. And it will go, and if it continues like this, you now realize that if anybody is crime or anybody that is corrupt, as it were, they will try to tame their appetite. But when we see that there is lawlessness and be like, I go chop. It's just like using the police, for example. If they realize that any of them that is caught taking unnecessary tips or cash along the road when they are mounting roadblock, if they demote you or they debarge you, they will stop. Because you see all these things I was saying. Why is it that they will say, it's because it's Nigeria? Why is it that these same people, if they get a job outside, the same people that feel like they are not orderly, if they travel out, they will maintain law and order. The Nigerian that you see that will just throw a sweet wrapper or biscuit wrapper or sachet of water on the floor. If they go outside, even they say they control themselves, they speak to themselves. So by the time we start seeing that the law is being enforced, people will put themselves in order.
All right, thank you very much, Becky.
Same with Ogaga, and same with what Ogaga said. For that man to be bold enough to take $30,000, I'm not sure he's operating in isolation. So proper investigation needs to be done, and everybody involved in that web or in that chain needs to be traced and, of course, apprehended. There should not be a case that will be swept under the carpet and like business as usual, and everybody moves on, and it has the attraction, and maybe in years to come people make references to it during discussions. No, it should be traced. Like, the man should be traced. Who are your accomplices? How did you have an idea about this? How were you able to take the money? Everybody involved, no matter how long it takes. Like, people who are good in this investigating thing needs to be involved, the authorities, and then they should investigate it to the last part, like all the details and all those involved. They should be brought to book.
Thank you very much. This is the last trend. So today we have come to the end of the X-Trend program. See you same time next week. I hope you had a swell time. Thank you, Ogaga. Thank you, Pepe.
Thank you, Patience. Alright, you see Friday's edition of the morning right here on Delta Television. We'll go for a break, and when we return, we've still got more segments for you. We have our paper as well. We're going to get to read out the different headlines across the dailies, and also Safety Corner, and like I told you, we have a guest interview. Stay tuned. I did not know they want to prove Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us on the morning ride. It's time now for Safety Corner, where we focus on vital safety and health topics to keep you informed and safe. Today's episode is on cholera, an infectious disease that can be fatal within hours if not treated. So stay tuned as our guest, trainer Joseph Odwe, walks you through essential information on how to protect yourself and your community from this dangerous disease. He'll be the only guest for now, but will be joined much later by other guests because cholera is a broad topic. Good morning, Trainer Odwe. How are you doing?
Good morning. Very
Good
well.
morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Okay, so let's jump right into it. What is cholera?
Okay, so cholera is not new to Nigerians and Deltans by extension. It's something we've been discussing from consuming contaminated food and water. And that the name of the contamination is a bacterium known as Vibrio cholerae. According to research, it has been touted that over 1.3 to 4 million cases occur every year. And from that figure, you usually have between 21,000 to 43,000 deaths yearly. So it tells you how serious it is as a disease.
Okay. What are some of the causes of this cholera, and what are some of the risk factors also?
Yes, the causes of cholera, like I already mentioned, are contaminated food and water. Any food or water that is contaminated with the bacterium, basically from using streams where people practice open defecation, or food items that are close to where people practice open defecation as well, or defecation into rivers. All of those things can predispose to infection, leading to that area disease.
Okay. If I have cholera right now, how will I know? Like the symptoms is what I'm talking about right now.
the signs of cholera are very, very clear. Basically, anybody who has cholera disease will manifest frequent passage of watery stool. That is one of the classical cases. Then you also have signs of dehydration, because cholera, as we know it, does not kill. But what kills is the dehydration that the people who suffer it stand to experience. So it is the dehydration that kills, and then we have the symptoms of dehydration, majorly sunken eyes, fatigue, loss of strength, and all of that.
Wait, you said sunken eyes, fatigue, stress, and these are some of the
symptoms of dehydration.
Now, these symptoms this is not just peculiar to cholera. So, with these symptoms you've mentioned now, if I have these symptoms, can it be mistaken for another illness rather than cholera? Because this is not just peculiar to cholera alone.
Yes, it's very good you asked this question, because diarrheal diseases are known to be four. We have cholera, which is for me the chief of them. We have typhoid, we have giardia, and then we have dysentery. And they all have their distinguishing features. And it is not just about the diarrheal diseases. These symptoms we talked about now can also be for other diseases. And that is why we say that for any of these symptom manifestation, it leads you to suspect that it could be cholera until proven through a test. So laboratory testing usually confirms if it is positive for cholera or any other disease.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the complications that can arise if not properly treated or if not spotted in time, and also after the complication tell us how it can be prevented.
Yes, the complications that can arise if not properly treated, the chief of them all is death. Cholera, like we know, it kills very quickly. Like in a matter of days, people can just die like that. I want to recall the case that happened last year in Lagos, where before we knew it, we were seeing deaths ranging in numbers of 30. People were just dying. People go to places they eat and then they don't know what is happening there, and next thing you know, we're just hearing plastic, hospitals are full, and deaths are going up. So death is the major complication that can arise from any cholera case.
Okay, so how can it be prevented?
Yes, cases of cholera have been tied to issues of inaccessibility or not adequate access to safe drinking water, basic sanitation and hygiene. So anywhere you have such cases, maybe because you have conflicts, you have wars, or you have disasters like floods, tsunamis and all of that, they easily predispose to cholera situations.
Okay. So you talked about dehydration. as one of the symptoms. The person will be dried, when having this cholera as a result of passing out fluid. So my question is, how important is hydration for those that have cholera, and what kind of fluids should they be on for them to be hydrated when it comes to the issue of cholera?
Okay, the question you asked now is pertaining to the use of oral rehydration solutions. We call it the use of oral rehydration therapy.
Okay.
And the simplest way to get this done is basically in your home. You can get water, you can get salt, you can get sugar. Make sure you heat up your water very well so that if there are any impurities inside, it will definitely take care of them. Then you mix with salt and sugar at a particular prescribed proportion, and then it will help to rehydrate the cells. Now, this is the reason why we give ORS, because we have already established that dehydration is what kills more than the cholera disease itself. Now, when you take water, definitely it is rehydration, but it will not be enough to help balance the system and then prevent the shocking effect that cholera usually causes. So you have to add electrolytes in the form of the sugar, and then you also have to add salt. Now, this is what the salt does. We have something at the cellular level of the body, we have something we call ion-gated channels. Now, these ion-gated channels are what gives access into the cells in the body. So when you give this sugar, it goes in and then helps drive the metabolic processes in the body, and then helps to restore the lost fluids and everything. Now, if you're only putting sugar into your ORS, the rate at which the sugar will be delivered into the cells will not be as fast as when you add salt. Now, the salt helps to open up more channels for the sugar to find its way into the cells and then help to restore normalcy in the body. So that is why you give ORS, and that is the reason why salt is there in your ORS.
Okay, so sorry to drag you back, Trainer Joseph. You talked about contaminated food and water being causative agents to people having this cholera. So my next question is, how important or how pivotal is hygiene and sanitation in tandem with preventing cholera as per living a healthy life?
Okay, let's take us to the rural areas where you usually have less amount of toilet facilities, or where they even have them, people don't want to use them, and where people easily practice open defecation or defecation into water bodies. Now, those are the things that predispose to cholera situations. So where you don't have that good hygiene practice, where you don't have proper sanitation that is regular, it will easily predispose to anything that will lead to cholera. Now, let me paint this picture. You have a rural setting where people have toilets or they don't have toilets, and then they go to practice open defecation. And then somebody who already has this cholera infection in them passes feces, and then it's left unattended to. It is not clean, and then fly goes to perch on it, collects it from there, and then drops it on your food which you have left open, not covered, and not even properly heated before you start eating. Now, there is no gain saying that that person is going to go down with cholera. Another one, somebody uses the toilet, then they fail to wash their hands, and then they go shaking and hugging people, unsuspectedly passing on infection from one place to another, from one person to another. Before you know it, the whole community is going to come down with cholera. It will only take time. So when we say that proper sanitation and good standard hygiene is what you need to take care of, we are not mincing words when we say it. And so to our listeners out there, if you're listening to us, you need to understand that cholera is not a disease you have to play with. Those people who are very aged now, like our mothers and fathers from 60s and 70s, they understand what we're talking about, and they know how devastating cholera disease can happen. Now, for those of us who are still young, the case that happened at Lagos is a reminder to how devastating cholera can be, if not attended to.
All right, so you mentioned ORS and the preparation. So in whose position is it to prepare the ORS? Is it should I say the victim now, the patient, or it's a medical personnel that does this? Because we're talking about water, is it warm water, sugar, salt, at a particular temperature, and with particular quantity and all of that. So how am I the one to prepare it, or it's the health or medical personnel?
Yeah, basically, when patients go down with cholera, they barely have the strength to do anything. So patients will not be in the best position to prepare an ORS. Rather, the person who is taking care of that patient, the family members, can help to prepare it.
So how do we know the actual concentration?
Yes, it's been broken down in such a way that it's very easy. Anybody can easily prepare the
Let's break it
ORS.
down.
So you need water, you need sugar, and then you need salt. So for water, you could go with 1 liter of water, and then you heat it up because you want to make sure that if there are any impurities or germs in the water, it will take care of them effectively. You don't want to treat somebody, or you don't want to now you can add 6 teaspoons of sugar and 1 teaspoon of salt. That is a composition. In that composition, it will effectively deliver the sugar into the body, and then the salt will help to create more channels for the sugar to be absorbed into the cells and then power the metabolic process of the body, helping the person to regain energy, and then they can now go for further treatment.
Okay, so there is a soft drink that people normally buy, then they put salt in it. I don't want to mention it because
I
we're not
understand.
paid for advice, but most persons, even the viewers, you know, we buy the soft drink and it's
So-
colorless. Then you put salt,
Mm.
and people say they call it oral drink. Is that effective as well?
Yes, we've heard where cases like that have happened and people have used them and we've gotten some result. It is basically just to stabilize your patient pending when you take them to the hospital, but it should not take the place of an ORS.
Okay.
So, Trainer Joe, when there is an outbreak of cholera, first of all, be myself safe, in all of this.
Okay, disease surveillance is basically the prerogative of government officials known as the DSNOs.
Okay.
We have them in the various tiers of response in the state. We have them at the local level. We call them the LGA DSNOs. At the states, we have the state DSNO and the assistant.
What does this
You know,
mean?
It means disease surveillance and notification officers.
Okay.
There are people who are specially trained to surveil diseases and report them to, initiate responses and then take care of those diseases. So that the persons who are vested with that responsibility to investigate diseases. So what they basically do is they work with health centers and then they work with private individuals who see cases that are suspicious of cholera and then they report them. So from surveilling those diseases, they are easily mapped out and then taken care of. Please, could you come to the next question you asked?
The next question I asked is, if I'm in an area where there is cholera outbreak or an outbreak of cholera now, and I'm not affected by it, so what do I do to keep being safe in that environment?
Okay, basically, the first thing to do is to watch out for signs. If you see any signs, do well to report them to the nearest health facility. And those persons who you suspect they are displaying signs of cholera, you can also advise them to visit the nearest health facility. Then you also need to take cognizance of the importance of WASH. WASH is an acronym for water, sanitation, and hygiene. So basically, having access to safe drinking water is a prerogative because we already know that contaminated water leads to cholera infection. Then frequent washing of hands and sanitation, making sure that you don't have exposed fecal matter everywhere. Sorry. And then frequent washing of hands. Once you have all of those things, basically your sanitation and then your hygiene. Then we also have food hygiene. Make sure you heat your food properly before you eat them. Make sure that your food, after cooking it, you don't leave it exposed, because we know some persons have this habit of cooking food and then they leave it and say let it cool down before they cover it. You don't know what is going to have access to that food. Flies can go and perch on them.
So I should
So
cover
please
it
cover your
immediately.
food properly. Then make sure you are clean, and then watch how you shake people as well, because you don't know who's going to use the toilet the next 1 minute, and then the next they go shaking people. They don't want to wash their hands or even use a hand sanitizer to keep their hands clean. So if you have to shake people, make sure that you frequently wash your hand or you use hand sanitizer to keep yourself safe from getting infected.
Train out, well. Okay, so because of what you said, I just want to give a situation that plays that people that spend time with me, especially come over to my place. One of my friends that came to spend some time with me was telling another friend of mine, was saying that if you stay with Ogaga, your hand will bleach. Because I always tell them, once you get in, wash your hands. Even if you are inside, once you want to take anything edible, wash your hands. But the person is like, I just wash my hands. I say, but you were pressing your phone. Now that you're now advising me that I should not shake, hope my colleague do not say I'm not jovial.
No. I'm sure they're listening to this program. And there was something you just said that caught my attention. You see, the places that your hands go to are what determines what your hands are going to pick. And because the hand is an accessory organ in the body, there is no gainsaying that it will always pick germs from here and there. And because those hands these days are always going to our phones, I can bet you that if you check your phone, the number of microorganisms you're going to find there that are harmful to the body, they are going to be alarming if we have to begin to check everybody's phone. So please, any moment you press your phone, please wash your hands.
Okay.
You can do yourself better by using a hand sanitizer and some gauze or cotton wool. Use it to disinfect your phone. Switch it off, disinfect, and then you are sure, because that place is a temporal depository of microorganisms that can be harmful to you.
Okay, even as we begin to wind down, let's talk about
The vaccine.
so I can go get the vaccine.
Yeah, of course you can take the vaccine. Yeah, of course you can take the vaccine. Adults can take it. Then from 1 year and above can take the vaccine.
So is it one off or is
Periodically.
No, it's one off, but you have to take 2 doses, like I said. So when you take 2 doses, then you are protected.
It's free of charge.
For what we have, the periods where the vaccines are given free of charge. Where you have outbreak of diseases, then you can definitely get it free of charge. But if you go any other time to go get it, it may be a cost attached to it.
okay? So, what's your organization, Nigerian Red Cross?
Yes, for Nigerian Red Cross Society, in Nigeria right now, Red Cross is responding across 8 states as we speak. We have Bayelsa, we have Adamawa, we have Oyo, we have Jigawa, and some other 4 states I can't remember now. And we've been responding, trying to help strengthen the public health systems by supporting the government with risk communication and community engagement, and also mobilization towards the vaccination as well. And also with active case searching out for persons who are displaying symptoms that are suspicious of cholera disease. So that is what the Nigerian Red Cross is doing now. Like I said, we have 8 states where we are responding. We are not responding in Delta State presently, but we are still supporting with the little capacity that we have in Delta State.
Just like you are doing now.
Exactly. So we are still working with communities, seeing how to engineer them, because we understand that where communities take the lead in a particular response, we are bound to get positive results. But where they are not there, it may be very challenging. So we try to engineer that community engagement aspect, where communities are the center of the response, and then we see how they can go from one place to another within their communities, discussing about cholera and telling people the risk factors, the symptoms, the causative factors.
As regards cholera. So does this RCCE, is it just for people in urban areas or rural areas? Please can you throw a little.
Okay, risk communication and community engagement is multifaceted. It is not just for the rural areas of the community, for the urban areas. It is for everybody.
Okay.
Communities are of different kinds. DPS as a whole is a community, because you have people of like minds working here. We have different communities in the ministries, MDAs, public and private places, and even at the rural places. So we go and then we discuss with everybody, bearing in mind that if we have just one case of cholera, it's an outbreak. Because if one person is affected, before you know it, the numbers just keeps climbing. And our target is to be sure that we engineer what we call social behavior change, because it is already established that it is the activities that we carry out, the things that we do, the things that we indulge in, are what promotes the spread of the disease. So we want to make sure that we talk to people, and we know that over time their behaviors will change, and then the spread of the disease will be curtailed, and then we'll be safe.
All right, thank you very much, Trainer Joseph Odwe, on sharing your insight with us. Trainer Joseph Odwe is a health and care officer with the Nigerian Red Cross Society. Thank you for sharing your insights with us on cholera. Even as we pull the plug on this segment, WASH is the acronym for you. Safe water, basic sanitation, and hygiene is essential to prevent cholera. After this, it will be time for papers review, where we reel out the different headlines across the dailies for today. Stay tuned. interview segment, and today we are thrilled to welcome a distinguished guest who is an expert in the field of education and its transformative power in society. Our discussion will center around the role of education as a catalyst for societal development, how it not only shapes individual features but also fosters positive change across communities and nations. We are joined today by a seasoned educationist in the person of Lady Gary Eloche. Welcome, madam.
Thank you.
Good
very
morning.
much.
Good morning,
Good morning. Good morning, viewers.
Okay, so, madam, today's topic education, the catalyst for social and societal development. And incidentally, today also happens to be International Day of Education. So, to commemorate this day, that's why we're having this conversation with you. Now, one of the slogans popular amongst youth in Nigeria is education na scam. How true is that statement? Let's start from there. Do you think education really is a scam, or it is very, very relevant?
Now, when you talk about scam, the general impression is that it's something, what is a scam is deceitful. What is a scam is not true. What is a scam cannot be relied upon and is fruitless. Okay. Now, to say that education is a scam or is scam is a lie from the pit of hell. It is a statement that is destructive to whoever believes in it or whoever believes it. Education is not deceitful. Education is very profitable. Education enhances a person's life. And the earlier you get educated, the better for the person. Now, we are not just talking about literacy. We are talking about education, which is beyond literacy, beyond just reading and writing. And if you get educated, your life will definitely be different from the life of those who didn't gain the education at all. It affects your character. It affects your view of life. It affects your perception of things and gives you a better.
Today is the International Day for Education. Please, can you talk a bit more about today's commemoration?
Now, the people who initiated the International Day for Education know what they have in mind. Permit me to still reiterate that education we are talking about is not just literacy. Now, taking it holistically, when you enter, now because most of the time when you say education, people think about school. Of course, it's a primary part of it. Now, talking about going to school, you discover that it's not only reading and writing that you learn. There are other trainings that have to do with morals. There is discipline in school that tends to make the person undergoing education know what is right to do, get punished or corrected for doing what is wrong, and then be set on the right path. Now, the importance of this day is that everybody should consider education and its benefits, and then encourage those who do not have that right attitude towards education to go into it, to change their mind, and then encourage education. I want to say that when a child is educated or a person is educated, your view of life is changed positively, because there is character training in what is education. Now, it helps you to relate with other people well, because you come to a school environment, narrowing it to school environment, which is general idea of education. When you, like those of us by the grace of God attended mission schools, oh, you are taught cleanliness. You learn respect. You learn hygiene. You are taught to maintain it. You are taught to practice it. You learn decency. You learn to talk to people. Now, when you go in crude, is that some teachers are not even are not good examples of good character. Some parents now, sometimes we refer to them as babies who are having babies, mothers who have not really received the training, and now they are bringing up children. They don't have the morals to impart to the children. The unfortunate thing is that we is a polluted society, and people have allowed the society to influence them in such a way that they drop what they learned in school to join the society. It is also unfortunate that some of the people at the top echelon of government, of church, even of society, are people who even attended some of these schools at the time I was talking about. What has gone wrong? The government is culpable. The church is culpable. The home is culpable. The society is culpable. The way forward is to return discipline to schools. Children do what they like and they are allowed to go. Unfortunately, when some teachers try to instill the discipline, which a child should imbibe and then impact the society with, the government sometimes comes with a heavy rod on the teacher, not on the child. The parents, we have incidences of parents going to school to fight teachers. But how can we? It's a hydra-headed problem. But beginning from the school has to teach the morals. The government has to back up the teachers in their work. The church also has to instill discipline. The church has to teach, not based on what they want, but what the script.
Degree of discipline, by your experience, would you say is permissible? For example, we've seen parents who say, even if my child does something wrong, a teacher does not have the right to use a cane or a whip on them. At best, report my child to me. We've even seen situations where even they are punished, you'll be like, the punishment was too tough, it was too severe. So what degree of discipline? And it goes both ways. And also for teachers, speak to teachers also that feel that they can slap a child because they feel the child is not doing well, or the child is not assimilating what is being passed across.
Okay. The reason we are where we are, frankly speaking, is first and foremost government.
Okay.
Over all schools. Started from the time the government took over schools and punished for corporal punishment. We, as human beings, don't want anything hard. And I want to say, talking from my Christian point of view, once you remove the rod from a child, it only takes time. That child will be on deceit in the area of character and morality. Okay. So, we need to return corporal punishment. Now, corporal punishment is in schools, but restricted. It has to be done
in schools and in the home. So
now, that's what I'm talking about. When people don't want their children to be punished or corporal punishment to be used, and they find themselves in positions where they can enact laws, they enact these laws thinking that they are doing good. Unfortunately, over time, we discover that we have not helped our children at all, and by extension, we have not helped the society. Okay. I stand for corporal punishment. It wouldn't, so long as there is a limit to how it is used.
Yes, because that's what I was going to ask. How far it should go, considering the stories we've heard in the past.
Okay.
You know, there was a recent viral video of a Lagos teacher beating a toddler for an instance that, like, we just see situations
Is
like
it
that.
where
And there was a woman, I think in Ogun State also, that
Mm.
they flogged the child, and the child was admitted, and the child passed on.
okay. Uh,
So how far?
when some of us talk, we are seen as old school. But those, I always say that those who are in the new school, we are waiting for when they will graduate. Okay? Now, the corporal punishment that was being used before, or other types of punishment, there was a regulation. And those of us who attended the teacher training college, that's another recommendation I would want to make to those who are policy makers. Let's begin. Every teacher must attend or should attend the teacher training college.
Okay.
Now, streamline this. It's not go to secondary school and go to teacher training college. From there, you go to College of Education. Then you can now go and read your degree in education in the university. It shouldn't be open to, maybe the after secondary school, you go and read education, method of education, only one semester, another year, one semester, and you come out and just be followed. Now, talking about the training we had in the teacher training, you don't beat the child in anger. I watched that video clip. That teacher was just angry. Maybe some transferred aggression. She will be the best person to tell. And then you are beating a child who cannot resist you. We are beating a child who you don't even permit to cry, and all the rest of them. She went beyond her bounds. Okay? But you use corporal punishment while there's something they call punishment, there's something they call correctional measure. Corrective measure. So, in using corporal punishment or even whatever type of punishment in school, the intention and the purpose is to correct the child and not to injure the child or cause so much pain on the child. That type of punishment.
So away from discipline,
Yes.
education is a scheme for all. Actually, those in the urban and rural areas need to have access to not just education but quality education. So what are some of the barriers to accessing quality education, especially in the rural areas and for communities that are marginalized?